What if the person you call the love of your life is only the person who knows how to trigger your loneliness? What if what you think is chemistry is actually hunger? And what if modern society has trained you to mistake attention for love, beauty for value, and emotional chaos for passion? We live in a world where people can sleep beside each other and still feel alone. They can post smiling photos online while quietly dying inside the relationship. They can say, "I love you," every morning, then betray each other in silence by night. Social media has turned love into performance. Dating apps have turned people into products. Everyone is showing the best angle, the cleanest smile, the edited life, the version of themselves designed to be desired, not truly known. And this is where Stoicism becomes dangerous. Not dangerous because it makes you cold. Dangerous because it teaches you to see clearly. What if the person you call the love of your life is only the person who knows how to trigger your loneliness? What if what you think is chemistry is actually hunger? And what if modern society has trained you to mistake attention for love, beauty for value, and emotional chaos for passion? We live in a world where people can sleep beside each other and still feel alone. They can post smiling photos online while quietly dying inside the relationship. They can say, "I love you," every morning, then betray each other in silence by night. Social media has turned love into performance. Dating apps have turned people into products. Everyone is showing the best angle, the cleanest smile, the edited life, the version of themselves designed to be desired, not truly known. And this is where Stoicism becomes dangerous. Not dangerous because it makes you cold. Dangerous because it teaches you to see clearly. In this video, we are not going to talk about love like a fantasy. We are going to talk about love as discipline, judgment, loyalty, self-respect, and truth. We will look at why love at first sight can become one of the most seductive lies of modern life, why physical beauty alone is a weak foundation, why obsession can disguise itself as devotion, and why sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away before you lose yourself. And near the end, we will look at Marcus Aurelius and Faustina, not as a perfect fairy tale, but as an example of what love can become when it is built on loyalty, endurance, and moral courage. Because real love does not begin when someone excites your emotions. Real love begins when someone meets your standards. In today's world, connection has become strangely difficult. We have more ways to contact people than ever before, yet many people feel more emotionally isolated than their grandparents ever did. You can message someone instantly, but still not feel understood. You can have hundreds of followers, but no one to call when your life falls apart. You can share your relationship online, but still feel unseen inside it. Technology promised to connect us. But often, it has only made loneliness more visible. And in that loneliness, many people make dangerous choices. They choose a partner because they are tired of being alone. They stay in painful relationships because starting over feels humiliating. They ignore red flags because the physical attraction is strong. They confuse emotional intensity with destiny. But Stoicism asks a harder question. Not, do they make me feel alive? But, do they make me more aligned with who I must become? That question changes everything. Because love is not only about who makes your heart race. Sometimes the person who makes your heart race is the same person who destroys your peace. Sometimes the person you crave is not the person who can build a life with you. Sometimes your body recognizes attraction long before your character recognizes danger. Romantic stories have sold us the myth of love at first sight. Films, songs, and social media clips make love look sudden, dramatic, and effortless. Two people lock eyes, the world slows down, music plays, and everything becomes clear. But real life is not a movie. In real life, the person who looks perfect at first may become unbearable after 6 months. The person who says all the right words may disappear when responsibility arrives. The person who makes you feel wanted may not be capable of commitment. Love at first sight is often not love. It is attraction at first sight. curiosity at first sight, projection at first sight. Sometimes it is your loneliness recognizing a possible escape. And this is where modern society becomes almost Machiavellian in its illusion. It teaches people to manufacture desire, to curate an identity, to appear emotionally available while remaining selfish, to speak the language of love while avoiding the burden of loyalty. People know how to look healed. They know how to sound mature. They know how to perform depth. But performance is not character. A person's true nature is not revealed in the first conversation. It is revealed in pressure, in disappointment, in conflict, in waiting, in how they respond when you say no, in how they behave when they no longer need to impress you. That is why Stoicism does not worship emotion blindly. It respects reason. Not because emotion is bad, but because emotion without judgment can lead you into chains and call it romance. True love is not something that appears out of nowhere like treasure buried in the sand. It is not glitter. It is not a moment. It is not a beautiful face that makes you forget your standards. True love is cultivated. It requires effort, patience, loyalty, trust, repeated decisions, difficult conversations, forgiveness when forgiveness is earned, boundaries when boundaries are needed. It is built slowly, sometimes quietly, often without dramatic music. And that is why betrayal hurts so deeply. When true love breaks, it does not only break your heart. It breaks the world you believed you were building. It forces you to question your judgment, your memories, your worth, and sometimes even your identity. Anyone who has truly loved someone knows this pain. You do not only miss the person. You miss the future you imagined with them. You miss the version of yourself who trusted without fear. You miss the home you thought existed. But this is also where clarity begins. You must learn to distinguish true love from obsession. Obsession says, I cannot live without this person. Love says, I want this person, but I will not abandon myself to keep them. Obsession makes you chase. Love allows you to stand. Obsession turns rejection into humiliation. Love accepts reality, even when it hurts. And physical attraction, by itself, is even more fragile. There is nothing wrong with attraction. It matters. It is part of human nature. But when attraction becomes your main criterion, you are building a house on weather. Beauty changes. Youth changes. Bodies change. Life changes. A relationship based only on physical beauty will eventually face a brutal test. What remains when the surface begins to fade? What remains when stress enters the home? What remains when money becomes tight? What remains when one of you gets sick? What remains when the children are crying, the bills are late, the career is uncertain, and nobody looks like their best photo anymore? That is when you discover whether you chose a partner or an ornament. A person can be beautiful and still be emotionally reckless. Attractive and still dishonest. Charming and still selfish. Desired by many and still incapable of loving one person well. The modern world rewards appearance quickly. But life punishes poor character slowly. That is why you must look deeper. Seek someone intelligent enough to think with you, not just smile beside you. Seek someone emotionally steady enough to face difficulty without turning every disagreement into war. Seek someone who can be your friend, your counselor, your witness, your support, not someone who only performs love when life is easy. Ask yourself, can I trust this person with my future? Can I trust them with my weakness? Can I trust them when I am not impressive? Can I trust them when I have nothing to offer except honesty? And if you want a family, ask an even harder question, would I want my children to learn love by watching this relationship? That question removes many illusions. Because some people are exciting to date but dangerous to build with. Some people are fun in private but embarrassing in crisis. Some people can share a bed with you, but not a burden. And life will bring burdens. A good partner is not someone who only makes pleasure easier. A good partner makes hardship less lonely. This applies to both men and women. If you focus only on looks, status, or emotional intensity, you may overlook the person who could have given you peace. You may ignore the quiet loyalty because you are addicted to the loud attraction. You may chase someone unavailable while walking past someone sincere. And many people do this. They fixate on one person who does not choose them. They keep investing, explaining, proving, waiting, hoping. They sacrifice time, dignity, and self-respect for someone who gives just enough attention to keep them attached, but never enough commitment to make them secure. That is not love. That is emotional gambling. And the casino always wins. Stoicism teaches us to accept what is outside our control. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot negotiate attraction. You cannot beg someone into loyalty. You cannot inspire commitment in a person who benefits from your uncertainty. You can communicate. You can be honest. You can give your best. But you cannot carry a relationship alone and call it devotion. If someone does not value you, that is information. Painful information, yes. But still information. Rejection does not always mean you are not enough. Sometimes it means you were trying to enter a life where you did not belong. Sometimes it means you were protected from a future you could not yet see. When someone cannot appreciate your value, you have not lost your value. You can say, I will not use this pain to punish my future. I will use it to refine my standards. That is emotional maturity. Not pretending you are fine. But refusing to let pain make you foolish. Now, if you are searching for an ideal partner, begin with one uncomfortable truth: most people are not searching with wisdom. They are searching with wounds. They look for someone who makes them feel desired, instead of someone who makes them feel safe. They look for chemistry, instead of character. They look for excitement, instead of alignment. But a life partner is not just someone you enjoy on a good day. A life partner is someone whose values can survive bad days. Do they tell the truth when lying would benefit them? Do they take responsibility without being forced? Do they respect boundaries? Do they treat people well when there is nothing to gain? Do they remain steady when life becomes inconvenient? These questions matter more than the perfect body, the perfect smile, the perfect profile. Because the person you choose will shape your nervous system, your home, your confidence, your future children, your finances, your peace, your aging, and your final memories. That is not a small decision. It is one of the most serious decisions of your life. So do not choose from panic. Do not choose from loneliness. Do not choose because everyone around you is getting married. Do not choose because your family pressures you. Do not choose because the person looks good on paper. Choose slowly. Observe deeply. Let time reveal what charm tries to hide. The Stoics understood that character is destiny. And in relationships, character becomes atmosphere. A loyal person creates safety. A dishonest person creates suspicion. A wise person creates calm. An immature person creates storms. A disciplined person builds with you. A selfish person consumes you. And you will feel the difference in your body long before you admit it with your mind. Pay attention to your peace. Not every relationship that excites you is healthy. Not every person who wants you deserves you. Not every apology is transformation. Not every intense connection is sacred. Sometimes intensity is just instability wearing perfume. Now, let us look at Marcus Aurelius and Faustina. Faustina, the daughter of Emperor Antoninus Pius, was not merely the wife of Marcus Aurelius. She was his partner in life, his companion through power, grief, public pressure, and private pain. Their relationship was not built in a world of comfort. Marcus Aurelius carried the burden of empire. He faced wars, political pressure, betrayal, disease, and the devastating loss of children. Imagine that weight. Not the polished image of an emperor in marble, but a man waking up with responsibility pressing on his chest. A man expected to rule with reason while privately grieving. A man surrounded by ambition, rumors, enemies, and the constant theater of Roman power. In that kind of world, love cannot survive as mere romance. It must become loyalty. It must become a refuge. It must become a decision repeated under pressure. There were scandals and accusations surrounding Faustina. History has debated them. But Marcus Aurelius did not publicly abandon her to protect his image. He stood by her. He honored her. He continued to see her as his companion. Whether one views their relationship as flawless or complicated, one lesson remains powerful: love reveals itself not only in pleasure, but in how people stand during pressure. Modern society often treats partners as replaceable. One mistake, one conflict, one season of discomfort, and people begin looking for the next option. Dating culture tells us there is always someone better one swipe away. But this abundance can create emotional cowardice. People stop building. They browse. They compare. They abandon. They call it freedom, but often it is just fear of commitment disguised as independence. True love requires something much harder than desire. It requires moral courage. The courage to tell the truth. The courage to stay loyal when temptation is available. The courage to repair what can be repaired. The courage to leave what is destroying you. The courage to choose virtue over impulse. Marcus Aurelius and Faustina remind us that love is not just a feeling. It is a decision. A decision to support. A decision to protect. A decision to remain faithful to shared values. A decision to build something deeper than appearance, wealth, or public approval. And this is the kind of love that becomes rare in a society addicted to performance. Because real love does not need constant applause. It does not need to prove itself every day online. It does not need to turn every private moment into public evidence. Real love is often quiet. It is found in the person who notices when you are tired. The person who does not weaponize your weakness. The person who corrects you without humiliating you. The person who can disagree without trying to destroy you. The person who does not make you smaller so they can feel powerful. That kind of love is not glamorous. It is stronger than glamour. So here is the lesson. Do not search for someone who only makes you feel wanted. Search for someone who makes you feel respected. Do not search for someone who only looks good beside you. Search for someone who can stand with you when life becomes heavy. Do not search for someone who feeds your obsession. Search for someone who strengthens your peace. And above all, do not abandon yourself in the name of love. Because the person who truly belongs in your life will not require you to destroy your dignity to keep them. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Love is not proven by how intensely someone makes you feel. Love is proven by what they protect in you. Your peace. Your trust. Your growth. Your self-respect. Your future. If a relationship takes all of that from you, then it may be attachment, chemistry, obsession, or fear. But it is not love in its highest form. Real love does not make you disappear. It helps you become more fully yourself. So choose with patience. Observe with clarity. Love with courage. Leave with dignity when you must. And never let a lonely season convince you to accept a counterfeit version of love. Because you deserve to be loved deeply. But you also deserve to love without losing yourself. If this message reached something in you, write this in the comments. I deserve love without losing myself. And if you believe more people need to hear this before choosing the wrong person, share this video with someone who is trying to understand love, heartbreak, or self-respect. Subscribe for more reflections on Stoicism, emotional discipline, and quiet strength in a world that keeps selling illusions. Until next time, stay clear, stay steady, and never confuse attachment with truth.